Welcome to the Conscience of Kansas radio show with Paul A. Ibbetson, a no-nonsense conservative talk show that looks at the local, state, and national issues that affect the people of Kansas. And now, here's Paul A. Ibbetson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest with Ron and Kay Rivoli of the Rivoli Revue. These folks are internationally known recording artists, and you may know their big hit that's been on YouTube of Press One for English with over 8.5 million hits. And Ron and Kay, we'd like to welcome you to the Conscience of Kansas radio program.
Thank you very much for having us, Paul. We're happy to be here.
Well, you know, it's our pleasure to have you guys both on the program, and tell us a little bit about how you guys got into doing your music and these videos and the work that you do.
Well, we've both been entertainers for a long time in our life, but about 10 years ago, we joined forces, and we went on the road as the Rivoli Revue, and we live in an RV, so we first started out doing cover songs, and then we started writing original music and then parodies about the RV lifestyle, and it's just been a very successful run for us. And lately, the music has just gotten even more successful with our big hit, When I Die, Bury Me at Walmart, followed by the tremendous success with Press One for English.
Well, you know, that Press One for English has just been a huge hit. And we have it linked up right now at our master website of superior conservative values at www.ibbetsonusa.com. And our radio team, Ibbetson Group, is telling us that it's just a click fest going on there at ibbetsonusa.com, that smoke is just coming off the servers, people hitting that video, and we're getting a lot of good comments from our listeners. And so, you know, it's wonderful. Now, you guys, like you say, you have a lot of very interesting songs, and folks can find your stuff at several different places. They can go to www.sonicbids.com/Rivoli Revue. They can go to your master website at www.rivolirevue.com. They can go to YouTube and see your stuff there at www.youtube.com/Rivoli Revue. And, of course, all things Rivoli Revue are linked up at ibbetsonusa.com. And it seems like to me that one of the things that really brings people into your music is the down-homeness, the earthiness of your music. If people can seem to identify with your songs. And I would start just with Press One for English. Now, you might tell me if these thoughts ever came into your mind, but when I listened to it, the first thing I thought of was just the challenge we all go when we get on our telephones and we want to get anything. You know, today's an automated world, and it seems like when you get on the review, and people out in radio land, tell me if you guys think the same. You know, when you get on the phone, all of a sudden you're given to a machine, and most of us don't want to be on a machine to start with, but the idea that you're going to have to go through this gauntlet to even speak to a human who I want to, anyway. And then to start out that process, this 12-step process to maybe get to the human, they ask you whether or not you want to speak English or not. And I keep thinking to myself, like, how can this be? You know, how is this that in America, in our country, that I have got to consider whether or not I'm going to speak English? What was sort of the motivations? Were that some of those thoughts come to your mind when you guys were putting this song together?
Well, yes, they were. We, like everyone else, probably received the John Wayne email that said, "Why must I press one for English?" We've all gotten the emails concerning it. But as we travel, we also noticed more and more the signage around the country going to languages that we no longer could speak. And really, the song came about right around the corner from my home where I saw a sign. I've lived there all my life, and I thought, I can't read that sign. And don't they want us to know what it says, too, and what services they're offering? And it just kind of provoked, and really it was kind of a fluke. We were in the studio, had finished one of our other songs. They said, what are we going to work on next? And I said, how about this, and started singing the chorus of Press One for English. And we ran with it, and we had no idea the overwhelming response we would have from the American public to the song. It has just been a whirlwind of a ride for us.
Oh, man.
May I add, once you said overwhelming response, 99.6% of it being positive response. there's always those few that have an issue with it. But honestly, it has been. That's what's really blown us away the most, I think, is the fact that it's been positive.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think most people can just immediately identify with that. And, I think it's very interesting. Another thing that was really neat about that video is that you lay out a little bit of history about yourself. You guys show that you come from families that have served this country, that have, put their lives on the line for this country, for our safety and security. And part of what the military does is they allow us to have a country, where we can prosper, where we can have an American heritage, and that really the history of this country has been to come to America, get the American dream, to assimilate to this prosperous environment that we have. Does that sound reasonable to you guys?
It's very reasonable to me, and I have to say the overwhelming majority have agreed with the video. Those that don't agree with it seem to want to reach for the race card or the xenophobic card. And
right.
The video is about neither one of those things. It's about a very important linguistics issue in this country. We are a melting pot. We don't expect anybody to give up their culture or their heritage or their native tongue. Those are what make us a very diverse country and make us beautiful. It's the combination of all the cultures. But we have always had a unified language. We are now hindered in our school systems. We're hindered by our EMTs, our medical personnel, and our hospitals. It's becoming more of an issue to have translators present in these small-town court systems to translate for these. Some cases are being dismissed because of our rapid trial system that they have to have. So it's really become an issue in assimilating now as we used to in the past, and by having a unified language that unites a country instead of dividing it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. And, I think that, when we talk about American pride, it's not American arrogance, it's American pride. We take pride in this country, and we are thankful for all the blessings that we have. And part of being thankful for your blessings is to, have an American culture and to protect it. And it doesn't mean that people can't speak other language. I speak many languages myself, but I'm an American, and in America I speak English. And so if I go to a foreign country, I'm required to speak their language. And
right, they would not expect you to speak their, for them to have to speak your language when you go to their country.
Yeah, because it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You have to assimilate to that culture. You have to speak the language of that land. And so that's very good. Now, I would say one point real quick is that, Ron, in Press 1 for English, you have got your groove on. I noticed that in this song, I was originally going to challenge you to a dance-off, but I could tell after watching Press 1 for English that you've got some rug-cutting abilities that I don't want to tamper with. And it really adds some flair to the video. Kay's doing the singing, but you're ever as much a part of that video with your playing and stuff. Very, very interesting. So I wanted to just touch on that because I often challenge people with my dancing abilities, but not at the Rivoli Revue. It's not going to happen.
I would challenge you to equal that flip-flop kick at the very end. We love that.
Flip-flop kick at the beach, yeah. Actually, the video was, at the time we made the video, in our wildest dreams, we didn't imagine the kind of response. And it just wasn't even a thought. It was, boy, let's make this video. This is a cool song, and, let's have some fun. And we were not in any way, shape, or form trying to make a political statement, even though it turned out to be that way to a certain extent. But we had fun with it. I mean, It was a fun thing. We didn't portray it in any way as being hostile or racial or non-immigrant. As a matter of fact, we thought it to be pro-immigrant and pro-American. And,
right.
And, so it wasn't, my feelings at the time in doing the song was just enjoying the music. Right. We were at the beach. There was a crowd of people watching us. It was a lot of fun.